Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth, and I hope you're enjoying my Michael Desiano look. That's Bryan Cranston, and your honour. Although I suppose that he stole it from me because I had it first. Anyway, this is the 600th edition of the Pursuit of Truth. I can't believe I've made 600 of these, and I expect I've regurgitated the same things over and over again. I guess I always say I'm going to stop doing these, but there's always something that I want to then talk about, and I guess I find it difficult not to say things because I want to stand up for things. And I guess, in all honesty, I hope that someone listens to it and that changes their point of view, or they're the one that makes the change that we all dream of humanity being humanity. So yeah, I apologise if you hear the same things over and over again. But I guess until it changes, what else do I have to say? So I was watching, there's another BBC programme called A Special School. It was really interesting. I think there's a new series now, but I went back to the first. I'd never seen it before. So it was interesting because obviously ISEND and the school want my daughter, or they're looking for a temporary place to send to a special school. And obviously I have a little reservation about that, I guess because I remember how it was when I was at school, and the idea of just it feels better to me that all children are together and that they're within the mainstream. But I guess there are reasons why that wouldn't be possible and why it may be beneficial not to be there, but that shouldn't be the reason why mainstream schools haven't adapted in this day and age to disabled or neurodiverse children, which I believe they don't. I believe they just leave it to government funding and don't change anything. It's like a lot of people always go on about how people just know something doesn't work, know a system doesn't work, and just carry on with it, and then they can just blame the system or blame someone else rather than actually let's fix it. Let's say that it's wrong and let's change it. Let's not just keep it when we know it's not working. Because I'm sure when I send this letter, Lena's help letter, I'm sure that's what I'm going to get back. Because last time when the Director of Child Services went and spoke to the school, Senko, I believe, and they told them that they are being supportive, and yet when they're with us, they're saying, well, we need more support, we need money. But the Director of Child Services was happy once it's like everyone, it's not just them, it's everyone. If you don't want to solve a problem, if someone gives you an answer that sounds like, oh, well, there's not actually a problem or it's something we can just live with, then you're ready to roll with it and that's it, and let's move on. It's like, I know this letter, I know all the important, powerful people I'm going to send it to who could make a change if they really wanted to, and I know money is probably a reason behind why it's not happening. But maybe they'll come out and say, yeah, you're right, it doesn't work for neurodiverse and disabled children, but I doubt it because of a legal matter. They will probably just say, well, they probably won't admit that it's to do with money and that they wish they could do these things. They're probably going to say, no, everything's right, we have this process and just follow this process and that's it. But the process doesn't work. Anyway, that's nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I've gone off on a tangent, a bit of a Ronnie Corbett at the moment there. It's about A Special School. So it was really interesting. I've only seen episode 1 at the moment. I'll try and put the link if it's still on iPlayer. But it did have me in a few emotional moments because it's sad in a way that not all schools are like this. Not all schools can cater for all children and give them the same education. And just to see how lucky, well, not lucky, that's not the right way of putting it. I'm trying to think how can I put this in a way that is correct, because it just made me sad to see the disabilities and how disabling it is for some children. That's their existence, that's their lives. There was one child that I think it's to do with the smoothness of their brain. They didn't have the curves, and that affects how they interact. And he was just lied down, and he was using his eyes to move the touchscreen of the TV. They'd set it up like that. I was just thinking, like, obviously this school was thinking, yeah, this is great, we're doing this, but I'm just thinking, like, inside his mind, what is he thinking? Is he thinking, like, I wish I didn't have to do this, and it's so difficult, so time consuming for me to move things with my eyes because I can't move my hands? Or, like, any child, sometimes they don't want to do things when they go to school, isn't it? And just to think that they're having to sit there, and because they're not able to say, like, I know this with Alina and with Aiden. Aiden, is neurotypical. He may have slight autistic traits. He, can articulate what he wants to do, and if he doesn't want to do something, whereas Alina, because of her autism, she can't. Sometimes she does. He's getting more to it now. She'll say try again or no. So she does understand bits of that now, but obviously with this child who couldn't speak at all, and seeing that other program Inside Our Autistic Minds, which child? It wasn't Murray. Was it Murray? It might have been Murray, actually, because he doesn't speak, isn't it? Yeah, he doesn't speak, and people assume that he's nothing going on in his head because he doesn't speak and he's got nothing to say. But it was far from that. He is thinking all the time, and when he wrote his speech that an actor read out for him, it showed the amount that's going on in his mind. Imagine being like that, with all this trapped in your mind and not wanting or not able to get it out. And it just made me think about these children, how unfair, I guess, life can be sometimes, and how important it is for us who are able to do all these things, to communicate, who are maybe not put in charge but have that position, are able to. Why aren't we using that to make sure that every single person is able to live the best existence they possibly can? But as a species, we don't live like that. That's why I wanted to make this one about, sort of a bit more to do with humanity. But yeah, there were lots of moments in that touched me, and just to see, and it shows how much people think. I remember, like, we used to have remedial classes at the school I was in, and I only saw my friend at lunchtime. I've mentioned this previously. I can't remember if his name was Lester, but I can't remember now. That's a different person. But anyway, the fact is that we don't do enough. And we need to as a species. We need to make sure every school, every place is able to benefit from this existence. Why should we live in it? Why would we choose to have a system that makes it difficult? Like the system we live in, because it comes from 1,000 years ago. Like I was watching about this migration thing, channel migration, and how the government's trying to stop. If you come on a small boat, then now you can't seek asylum, but they want to make out that they're not going against the Human Convention, and all these types of things. They're just trying to get round it by saying, well, we do have it, but you have to go through this way of doing it, which is probably a very studious paperwork way, or is so difficult to get through that it just doesn't work. And they can say, look, I am doing something, but that's the way they get away with these things, by making it incredibly difficult, but then they can make out like I'm actually doing something. Well, you're not doing something. But the fact is, why are we still seeing human beings in this way? Why are we still seeing these borders? I know I've mentioned this many times, but this is a species of humanity, which is our problem. We're still living in our past. The people who came up with these conventions and came up with the idea of the system that we live in, that is demeaning to humanity, because it puts us in these boxes and it gives people power over these people, politicians, rich people, the 1%, whatever, who've got there by whatever means, whether it's by family or blood or money or by graft or whatever. The fact is, we're all human beings, and we shouldn't have to earn money to have good things, to be able, have a piece of fucking paper from a tree that freely came to us, to be able to travel this place that we found ourselves upon. Why do we limit humanity? Why do we put ourselves in those boxes? And surely anyone with capacity can see that the way we're living is erroneous. The way we're treating each other, the way that, that's it. But that's it. We're turning a blind eye. We're like those people who say, that I was just describing, this is the only system. That's what people are going to say, isn't it? This is the only system we've got. This is the way it is. Well, it doesn't have to be. And in the past, thousands of years ago, look at how we used to act as human beings. Look 1,000 years before that, how we used to act. So we can change. We have changed. So why do we need to wait for another 1,000 years for us to all realise that we're all human beings and that we shouldn't have these borders? Yeah, we can have names for things, all these things. Remember, everything that you found, everything that's been given a name isn't actually its name. You, yourself, and me, we've been given names to identify ourselves, the same as a lion or a tree. That's not the name of this thing. That's why different languages have different names. We've given them that, and most people use English, and that's why you say a tree is a tree, or maybe Latin or German, who knows by the etymology of it. But the fact is that we found ourselves upon this place, and we, like a game, have created everything around it. If there was a nuclear bomb and everyone forgot everything, we'd start again. If you were able to time travel through different time periods, you'd see that. So the fact is that everything that you know around you, your whole existence, is a creation, a man-made creation in a way. And we all grow up and we teach each other it, and that's how we live. But the problem is those fundamentals are wrong. And we need to see that, and we need to acknowledge it and say, well, wait a minute, we're human beings, we're all human beings. It doesn't matter where you found yourselves upon. Why should we look at just this section of human beings, your own, what we say are, the place that we were born in by luck or chance? Why should we then say, well, then we're only going to look after that one? Why can't we look after each other, all human beings? When there's a natural disaster or COVID or something like that, look how we rally together, even though there is still money to be made out of these things. But that sentiment, that heart in humanity is still there. We need to get into that, and we need to get rid of this idea of power and position and possession. You don't possess the land. You don't possess the human energy, the humanity. It's not our life to grow in order to manufacture unnecessary amounts of things just to get competition to make money, so that someone sitting on the chair who created the company can carry on. That's not our reason for our existence. We all know that, surely. Well, our reason for existence is whatever we want it to be, because we have nothing telling us, you must do this. Isn't it? We don't have that. If there is a God, he's given us free reign. So why are we choosing to shackle ourselves? Why are we choosing to narrow humanity, to go in that caveman instinct, the people that 1,000 years ago that decided, we'll put a flag on a piece of land and this is mine, it's not yours, and you have to work for me. You're my slave and you have to do this. That's the sentiment that we're still living in this day and age. It's more modern. It's the same sentiment. But we don't have to live like this, and that's why I make these videos. That's why I keep saying this, because I want that change. I want for you, I want for my children, your children, for every human being. We have all the resources, everything that we found ourselves. It's not actually Bill Gates. It's not actually yours. It's not actually President Biden's or President or Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's or, whoever the leaders are, whoever the rich people, the powerful people, whoever the farmers, the land, the builders, the manufacturers, the businessmen, it's not yours. It's all of ours, or none of ours, whichever way you want to put it. We didn't choose to be. We are. And everything around us, like the trees outside, the air, the animals, our own existence, all the bits of things that we pull out of the ground that we can turn into food or manufacture into TVs or phones, silicon, etc. All of that stuff is freely given to us. Yes, there may be some bits that we do with it to make it into certain things, but the ingredients, everything is freely found for each one of us. And it's that caveman old 1,000 years ago idea, we're going to cut it up and put a flag in it and say, this is mine, and you can't use this and I'm not going to help you because I want to be rich. I want to be more powerful than you. No. But by us all continuing to vote for all this, we're continuing that story. We're continuing to play that board game of our lives. Why? That's what we need to stop. And we need to say that, yes, we're all human beings and we all deserve a great existence. And there's no reason not to, because we have all the resources. Every single person can have the world-class healthcare everywhere. Everyone can live in places where there aren't natural disasters, because there's a lot of land and there's not that many people compared to how much land there is. If it's the only thing that stops us is money and power and possession and greed and keeping that status quo of rich and poor. But actually, intrinsically, when you look at the ingredients, if you were playing like SimCity with this planet, you could see you have all the ingredients that you need. You have all the human energy to create all these things. If say, like I've said this before, if like London or New York City or whatever place has got the best for everyone, the best hospitals, the best technology, the best housing, whatever, California, everyone has a nice house, and you just multiply that everywhere. There's nothing to actually stop us from doing that other than ourselves and our stupid closed mentality of way of thinking that this is the only way of doing it. And that we have to have control over other people. We have to stay in power because, the world will end. No. We don't need money to do things. We're human beings. That's how we've been trained, that you will only do something if you get paid for it. No. How do charities work? If you have a passion for something, you'll go and do it. And so it's not impossible to create this. We can all do this. Make every place habitable for everyone. No more suffering, no more lacks and shortages and all this kind of stuff. No more misery, no more untimely deaths, no more miserable existences that we're allowing to go by keeping this system here. I don't know, anyway, I've waffled on. The other thing I was going to mention that I forgot when I went into this bit about the special school, there's another bit I saw on Gogglebox. They played I think it's a program called The Piano with Claudia, is it Winkleman? And there was this girl who was, I think she was blind, but this teacher had sat her on the lap and put her hands on top of his and taught her how to play the piano. And this program was to find amateur pianists. And it was in the middle of a shopping centre, and she came out and she started playing this piano, unable to see, playing I can't remember what classical piece of music it was, but she played it so beautifully. And it just goes to show you, everyone watching it on Gogglebox was in tears, that we were, but it just shows you, we write off humanity, we write off people and think they can't do this, they can't do that. What's the point of putting money into these things? But this is what shows it, especially when you look at this girl. Look what she could do when someone was loving enough to realise that, yes, we all have a useful capacity, each one of us. Every single one of us has something. And that's why the school systems and education systems around the world should all embrace every single student, because you don't know what you're going to get from that person unless you put the work into them. When you look at the list of people who had Asperger's, ADHD or autism or some disability, Professor Stephen Hawking, Albert Einstein, Stephen Fry, Chris Packham, all these different people that have given us so much, writers, painters, professors and academics and etc., that may have had these things. Anyway, so that's what I wanted this 600th edition of the Pursuit of Truth to be about. Humanity. Humanity is so powerful if it's like an atom bomb, if it's used wisely and properly. We're living in the worst, well, not the worst, because I'm sure 1,000 years ago it was far worse, but humanity has not reached its pinnacle in the way that we should be interacting on this place that we found ourselves with each other. And that's what we need to change. Please share this video, like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Just try and make your own about this, so that I'm not doing this for views and things and all that kind of stuff. What I want, you can steal what I'm saying and make it your own. If you've got more views than me, I don't care. What I care about is that we change this world and that I can live a better world and existence, and you can, and our children can, because who's going to do it if we don't do it? Otherwise, it'll stay like the way it's stayed always. Take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.